Subscribe to PAMX channel. Click on the bell icon to receive notification on new video. Like and share the videos. Thank you.
Continuing with the series of interesting and informative interviews on PAMX channel, we are featuring Technova today. Technova's innovative and world-class products cater to a wide range of industries like commercial and newspaper printing, publishing, packaging, signage, photo, textile, engineering and medical imaging. So we are grateful to G Ramakrishnan, CEO of Technova, who could spare some moments for this interview today. So we welcome you to PAMX channel, sir.
Thank you, Neha.
So Technova did not stop its operations even during lockdown. How did the team manage this, and what were the safety measures taken by you?
As you know, Neha, the whole intensity of the COVID and hit upon us sometime around the middle of March, and I think the whole lockdown situation happened from after 20th of March. And as you know that we manufacture products for the printing industry, and newspaper segment is one big segment that we cater to, the whole newspaper and media industry. So we cater to the general commercial print segment, we cater to the packaging segment, we cater to the book publishing segment, we cater to the photographic segment. But I think at the beginning, in terms of what is considered as essential services, the newspaper and media are considered as essential services. So in fact, the entire newspapers now, to the extent whether the English dailies or even the Hindis or even the local vernacular presses, they kept on printing and publishing, though there was a hit on their circulation as well. But this was actually the time where they wanted to ensure that the news is provided. So therefore, they suddenly wanted to ensure, in fact, increased their order sizes even during the lockdown period. So most of the newspapers actually ordered for more than what was a normal consumption in order to ensure that their supply chains are stocked up well. So they have paper, they have inks, they have plates, they have chemicals, they have blankets as their raw material. And therefore the procurement and the supply chain managers in those newspapers wanted to stock that well. And suddenly we saw a surge, even though the consumption actually in other segments were low. In early April and May, there was a demand. So what we said is, yes, I think this is something that everybody faces, the challenge related to lockdown, everything was lockdown. But we could obtain special permissions based on the fact that we were catering to the essential services, newspapers and media. So we got those permissions, and we could manage to get permissions to start our plant with 25 to 30% of the personnel being operated. We had to ensure that the shifts were on such a way that instead of 3 shift working, we did 2 shift working of 12 hours. We motivated and we could get the people of the work plant, though there was a fear at its peak in terms of the whole COVID, the whole COVID issue. And therefore with a lot of safety protocols, I think very well, in fact, when the very first protocol of the government was there, even for essential, I think we went in to ensure that we were able to do all of it. So the normal safety precautions were there, the extra safety precautions at the entry level, the thermal screening, everything that was there, in fact, with the entire lot of PPE kits. And we also ensured that the people who come for transportation, we maintain the social distancing in the vehicles, whether it is the 4-wheelers or whether it is the buses and all. So we could manage to get the people going. And another function is that, again, our outbound supply chain teams worked along with the transporters and were able to manage to get those transport permissions also interstate. We used to send it from our industrial factory unit at New Bombay, Taloja, to say Delhi or to Chennai or to Calcutta. So I think that was a very, very well coordinated effort by our internal teams.
Technova has launched Nova Shield. So tell us about that.
Actually, while our core business is in the graphic arts industry, also are always looking for is an opportunity to be able to contribute something to the non-graphic, non-print business. And I think the entry into the face shield part was actually a part of what we call as a noble mission. And we found that there was some connection, in fact, in the sense that we do manufacturing of polyester-based products. We do coating of polyester. So during the COVID crisis, an idea came up that we could in some way contribute to the COVID warriors and design a product, the face shield, a sort of a mask, obviously. It's not a mask, but it's an addition to a mask in terms of face shield, which acts as a first line of defense. It gives a first line of defense to the frontline COVID warriors. So based on that noble mission that we had, and based on the fact that we have some experience in polyester products, we combined and made a simple design. I think we worked on the design and got into manufacture of this.
Interesting. So have there been other developments at Technova? Any more products?
I think it is always a constant endeavor to actually come out with something new products. So we also believe that in our addition to the value addition so-called quotient to the customers, one was of course in terms of the product of the face shield. But we're also, what we are doing is we are very keen. In fact, we had done this, but now this is a real occasion for us to do. So the products that we have come out with, what we call as services to the print industry in terms of the whole safety. So we had something called safety audit, but now we have converted that into a product actually. It's not really a service, it's a product where for the print industry, we believe that whether it is COVID is something which is coming from what we call as a medical angle, but I think the whole issue of industry safety is something that is of prime importance. And we believe that's something that we are contributing to the safety audits and safety sessions. There's another angle to the whole thing of environment. I think again, effluent treatment and environment related systems again are of prime importance in the way that overall statutory compliance is. So you would find that it's already an issue in many states, but going forward, the environment compliance will be a big issue in all the states. So there's something of the environment related advisory also that we provide. The third thing that we have come out with also related to energy conservation. So again, while water conservation, energy conservation, all natural resources conservation, while we are actually as a country going up in terms of industrialization, the whole conservation of natural resources. So very big, I think for our customers again is a whole issue of energy, electricity. So I think we again an advisory related to that. We have some in-house experts and we have collaborated also with some other outside experts to put together a product and a package which is relevant to the print industry. In the products that we will be doing in our current product portfolio, we obviously are going more and more towards the green products. So whether it's in terms of the plates or whether it's in the chemistry, and also in terms of the plates, we had launched new plates during the PAMEX exhibition in January.
What are the main challenges that the industry would face post-COVID-19?
Neha, I would like to take a slightly higher level thing, not just for the print industry. I think every industry is today undergoing a major challenge because I was just saying that in some other forum the other day that I think the last big crisis that as a country or as an economy we had felt was in 2008 during the global financial crisis. Of course, there have been other crises that has come in, but I think this COVID-induced, lockdown-induced crisis that has been there, and I think as we now know, 6 months into this crisis, very clearly, while the early days people were asking what would be the impact that would be there, I think there are a lot of clear consensus that the annual growth GDP of the country would be down anywhere between 10 to 15%. So that is a very, very big challenge to the economy. And obviously it comes in terms of in terms of what you produce and sell. And I think the big impact is in terms of the jobs in the economy, in terms of purchasing power, the spending power, and therefore all of it leads to the impact on the demand. So I would say at a very high level for every industry, there is a challenge on demand. And the question is the revival of demand back to 90 or 100% of the pre-COVID normals? I think that's a big challenge that every industry will face. How quickly can one be back to 100% or near 100% of the normal? I think every industry is struggling. There are industries which are slightly the beneficiaries, whether it's a pharma or the health and hygiene sector, or maybe even some of the consumption sectors of basic goods. But many sectors I would put somewhere in between. I would put that today they are at between 60 to 65% of pre-COVID normals. There are industries which are at 20, 25% or even below that. That is the service sectors. So at an overall aggregate level, I think that one of the big challenges that industry faces is the fact that how quickly can you revive the demand back and get it back.
Insiders call you RK. And we would want to know about the RK's journey. When did it start in this industry?
So I've been in Technova for now 35 plus years. I joined in Technova in 1985 fresh as a management student from Mumbai University's Narsimha Institute of Management Studies, NMIMS. And this has been my first job. In fact, I keep saying this is my first job and my last job in that sense, because I think what is Technova when I joined was very, very, very small. It still continues to be a private limited company. It's not a public listed company as many others. But I think Technova has the soul of a public limited company in a shell of a private limited company. Technova is an Indian company, but has a soul of, I would say, a multinational company in terms of the best practices that is being there, whether it is in terms of different functions like of sales or manufacturing, but all the more so of management excellence. I'm a finance man by basic qualification, but I've worked in various functions right through the organization, right from finance and accounts, then to corporate planning, and then a stint in sales, and may not be in direct manufacturing, but obviously in functions like production planning and overall in corporate strategy. And I have been that way been blessed to have been exposed to various project assignments that the company had undertaken, whether it was a cost transformation journey, whether it was in terms of a human resources project related to role definition and things like that, or whether it was any handling of any crisis projects also. So I think that way I got an experience, I would say the entire full-rounded experience in this company. And it is akin to saying that if I were in 5 different companies in my career, what I would have got in those, I think I've got in this one company playing in different roles.
So, sir, do you think COVID-19 will affect international trade relations for India?
I think every country is grappling with what's the impact on their GDP for this year and for the next few years. However, at the same time, as I had earlier mentioned, I think every country is also relooking at its global trade and its dependence on the global supply chain. And therefore, there is a clear shift of every country, including the US, UK, Europe, Japan, and every others, to the view on China. And their excessive dependence on China for a lot of manufactured products is now being questioned and being reviewed. And globally, there is a whole thing called China Plus One. While they continue to be having their manufacturing locations in China, but whatever their growth plans were there, they definitely want to de-risk themselves. I think global companies' boards today are grappled with a question of, as I call as resilience and de-risking. And therefore, the biggest strategy there is China Plus One. So from that perspective, I think India is a beneficiary of that strategy. China Plus One would mean India definitely will be looked upon. While there are other countries like Vietnam, smaller ones, Vietnam, maybe Thailand, maybe even Bangladesh, which would get the benefits of this shift, I believe that India stands at an advantage. Obviously, this opportunity was there for us in the past as well, but I think we somehow messed it up. But I believe now with the global recognition that we have, there is a big push towards China Plus One means India in the global manufacturing supply chain. And there are already some things which are happening. I think the government is seized of this and of this moment and opportunity and making some of the right steps. So I believe that there are 20 to 25 so-called clusters, industries, which are considered to be a potential for being a champion industry. So I think from that perspective, we've already had some electronic manufacturing policy announced about a month and a half, and something on specialty chemicals and pharmacy will come soon. There will be on auto ancillaries, there will be on leather, there will be on textiles. So I think, and there are a host of other things on which I think we can be so-called, I would say, a big scale manufacturer. So in a sense, while the trade per se may be slightly impacted in this year and to a great extent, I think the investment flows into this country over the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years. And production-linked incentive, which is given for manufacturing, I think will spur the overall investment and manufacturing activity in the country.
You have been a regular exhibitor at PAMIC's exhibition. You were there in January as well, the last edition we had.
So the PAMEX exhibition, I think as I was mentioning earlier, has been one of the numero uno exhibitions in the country. And we've been Technova has been regularly participating in PAMEX all these years. I think PAMEX, the quality of PAMEX has always been very good, right up there.
Thank you for all your time.